Thanks, Harry. Ladies and gentlemen, invited guests, relative of those we honour, we've gathered here today as a community to remember some people who walked these streets before us, forefathers of this town, whose work and commitment to their beliefs has allowed us the right and freedom to come together today with our own flag flying proudly overhead, and to have as our special guest in Westport an independent and democratically elected Uachtaráin na hÉireann. The effort and sacrifice of these people, in some instances the ultimate sacrifice, have left us with much to be thankful for. And while we sometimes might take for granted basic human freedoms and our autonomy as a nation, without their endeavours, our lives would be so much different. Born in Westport in the second half of the 19th century, William and P.J. Dowers were brothers who would ultimately have conflicting political beliefs which would drive a wedge between them. Though they would end up estranged, their life's work lives on today in the pages of the Mayo News, which they founded in December 1892 and which remains an institution at the heart of this community. The Westport of 1892 was a different world from that which we know today. In an obituary published in the Mayo News following the death of P.J. Dowers in March 1937, it was stated, "The Mayo News was founded with meagre capital by men who were idealists and whose sole ambition was the vindication of the country's wrongs." In his pages, the Irish tenant farmer saw the injustices of his lot so vividly portrayed as to rouse him to action. A firm adherent to the Land League movement and to the United Irish League, which, with William O'Brien, he helped found, P.J. Dowers devoted his life to the cause of land reform. There was hardly an eviction within the borders of Mayo during the land war, at which Mr. Dowers was not present with his notebook and pencil. Following the rebellion of 1916, P.J. Dowers was arrested and interned in various English prisons, and upon his release, he immediately resumed his campaign against England in the Mayo News. In 1921, the Black and Tans came to Westport to do what was described as silence Dowers and the Mayo News for all time. And P.J. had a narrow escape, getting out of his house just before they entered. The Mayo News plant was destroyed on that occasion, but still Dowers would not be deterred. Rolling back to 1910, when the elder Dowers' brother William stood for and successfully won the West Mayo seat in the House of Commons. As newspapers were the main medium of communication at the time, William Dowers used the pages of the Mayo News to powerfully convey his message to the population. "Please God, I will never forget, I am the son of a poor man, elected mainly by the poor people of this constituency. While I will not support injustice to anybody, I am a poor man's representative, and I will live and die the poor man's representative," he said upon his election, before moving to London to take up his seat in Parliament. However, the two brothers would soon be on a political collision course that would lead to a separation that lasted for the remainder of their lives. While William pushed the land question in Dublin, P.J. became a fervent supporter of the campaign for outright independence from Britain. William and the Irish Party began to lose support to the increasingly popular Sinn Féin party at the time, and P.J. began actively supporting Sinn Féin in the Mayo News, which saw the paper being banned for a time. William Dowers failed in a subsequent election bid in 1918, and when the candidate preferred by his brother P.J. won and was promoted by the Mayo News at the expense of their co-founder, there was a lot of trouble in the camp with the Dowers brothers. William moved to Dublin, and the bond between the two was irreparably broken. Today, almost a century and a quarter after they founded the Mayo News, we have gathered in Westport to make a small gesture to these two local pioneers of our town and of our republic. It is fitting that the bridge on James Street should be named in honour of William and P.J. Dowers, a bridge they use daily on a street where their life's work was created and where much of the events of their lives took place. Westport Historical Society should be commended for their foresight on this initiative, and we in the Mayo News of today, the Berry family and the staff and management, as custodians of their legacy, are proud to be associated with this tribute to our founding fathers. Thank you.